All right, so we've discussed the mental health issue here and my idea of some, you know, psychological evaluation or requirement to own a gun, and really what we need is a better education about mental health for more reasons than just this. Um, but that's a topic for another day. Um, so the next big thing that catches headlines is, some dumbass kid, blows his or his friend's head off with his dad's shotgun that he finds in the closet or whatever. And this, the number of these incidents is really, really, really small. But kids dying gets people's attention. You know, and it's such a small number that it really is really of no significance. More kids die from falling off their bike, and cracking their head open than this. You know, but I've heard people make that same argument, and then they say, well, you talk to the parents and tell them that it makes no difference. Well, I would talk to the parents and I'd tell them that it was their fault that their kid died. And it's not their fault that the kid died because the gun was easily accessible. It's their fault that the kid died because they didn't educate the child on how to use and handle and how dangerous a gun is. For this portion of the presentation, I will be using a prop. Now, Fake Sagan has an AK-47, and that's the shit. Um, I don't have an AK-47, unfortunately, um, but I do have what I consider to be a far sexier weapon. Is my 357 Smith & Wesson 357 Magnum, which you can see here, which is the shit. It's probably the best revolver that you can get. Anything bigger than a 357 is really unnecessary, um, and the bigger you get, the heavier it is. Um, Anything smaller than a 357, besides a 45, is really too small. 357 will drop someone when they are hit, and if you're using hollow points, no matter where you hit them, they're probably going to die because they're going to bleed to death. So this gun accomplishes its only real purpose, which is to kill people, which people have a problem with, but that's their tough luck because it is a necessary function. We need a tool to do that. Killing is required, and this is the perfect tool for it. Um, so kids, kill themselves by accident or whatever. Um, there's nothing dangerous about this gun. This right here is not dangerous. It's not loaded, but even if it was loaded, it's not dangerous. All right, if handled properly. It's the human element that makes this device dangerous. Now, when I was 8 years old, I shot this very gun for the first time, and it gave me a unique perspective at the time into how potentially dangerous something like this could be. Um, it's different than playing a video game. You get a real understanding of what you're dealing with. Especially at 8 years old, a gun this big really wants to put you on your ass. Um, so when I was 8, if I had found this somewhere, I wouldn't have fucking touched the fucking thing. Because I would have known that that motherfucker could kill me if I fucked around. Now, the reason kids die is because they're not introduced to guns. They're hidden from them. They keep them hidden away. Most of the time, these kids didn't even know the gun was there. You know, um, and they don't know anything about it. They don't know how to handle it or anything, and they end up fucking killing themselves. And the interesting thing is that the solution to this problem is the exact opposite thing that the anti-gun community would advise. They'd tell you, hide your guns, keep them all locked up, don't ever let your kids touch them or anything or interact with them in any way. That's the exact opposite. All right. solution. That's the exact opposite solution to the problem. That causes the problem. Well-educated people don't accidentally fucking shoot themselves, except on the very rarest of occasions. Except in some legitimate accident, some weird shit that fucking happens. A gun barrel accidentally explodes or some shit like that, which usually that has a prevention too, but that's not the point. So, better education will solve this small problem, but big problem in the public eye. And the last solution, which will really solve a majority of these murders, is to end the drug war, which is a solution to a lot of problems. And this 11,000 number will go down drastically almost immediately. I fucking guarantee you that. If you don't want to have guns, then fine. But what you have to understand is that your right to feel safe doesn't outweigh the right of everyone else to self-defense and to defense of their liberties. And that's what it comes down to. If you are so naive as to believe that there could never be a time when an armed citizenry was necessary for the defense of liberty, you need to get a fucking reality check. And I said something along these lines in a comment on some video, and somebody responded like, yeah, you're going to shoot down a Black Hawk with your pistol or whatever. That's not the fucking issue, alright? First of all, if you want to get real about it, in a situation where you have to keep down a population, you have to have people on the ground, and a pistol or a rifle is more than adequate for shooting a soldier in the face. So that argument that they make is really invalid. And it's amazing what armed rabble can do with a couple of AK-47s and bring down a helicopter. We have to have the right to be armed. Plain and simple. We don't have the right to be armed. We don't have the right to anything else. And when I think about outlawing personal firearms, I think about what that would leave us with. That would leave certain groups with a monopoly on firepower. The police, the government, the military, and go away. You're ruining my conversation. The police, the government, the military, and the criminals. And these are not the groups that I want to have a monopoly on power. I know. Yeah, come on. So just think about that, because you're never going to stop criminals from trying to get guns. And the majority of guns that are in, truly dangerous guns that are in circulation, like AK-47s, those aren't stolen from people's homes. That's just smuggled in. You can buy an AK-47 off the street for $50. And it's really not that hard to do. And the solution to gun theft is really better security of your home, which is something I failed at, but I learned my lesson. And that was my fault, not the gun's fault. Whatever. I think I've made my point clear. Anyone that disagrees with me is wrong. So, alright.